Welcome to this explainer. Listen, if you're navigating your teenage years right now, you know better than anyone that life can often feel like an absolute pressure cooker, right? Between the crushing expectations at school, the constant exhausting noise of social media, and just trying to figure out who you are and where you fit in. Man, it is incredibly easy to feel totally isolated and under attack. It really does feel like a battle. But today, we're going to look at an ancient concept that completely transforms how we fight our modern battles. It's this powerful idea wrapped up in an ancient name. Yahweh Nissi. And as we go through this, I want to show you how this thousands of years old concept is actually the exact secret to finding your courage today. So where do you turn when you're just completely overwhelmed? Where do you go when the anxiety spikes? You know, when that academic stress about finals or college applications feels like an actual physical weight sitting on your chest? Or when drama in your friend group leaves you feeling totally lost and alone? We all have a default direction we run when things get tough. Okay, let's dive into this, because the solution we're going to explore today isn't about telling you to just try harder or tough it out. Nobody needs to hear that. It's actually about looking in a completely different direction. Section 1. Finding your rallying point. To get started, we really need to define our terms here. The Hebrew phrase Yahweh Nissi combines YHWH, which is the sacred covenant name of God, with the word Nes. Now, Nes translates to a banner, a standard, a signal pole, or a rallying point. And in the context of ancient warfare, a banner wasn't just some decorative piece of fabric looking pretty in the wind. No way, it was everything to a soldier. It represented their identity, it promised protection, and most importantly, it was the visible, undeniable symbol that their commander was actually present on the battlefield with them. When a soldier saw that banner, they knew exactly where they belonged and who was leading them into the fight. Now, if ancient warfare feels, a little disconnected from your Tuesday morning homeroom, think of it this way. Imagine you're at a massive crowded music festival or a packed theme park. You get separated from your friends, you reach into your pocket, and you realize your phone is at exactly 1% battery right before it immediately dies. Absolute panic sets in, right? You are totally lost in a sea of people. So what do? You look up. You look for that towering sign, that one brightly colored meeting spot that rises way above the chaos so you can find your way back to safety and community. That is exactly what a Nez, a banner, is. It's the rallying point that cuts through the chaos. Section 2. The Battle of Rephidim. So picture this. The Israelites had just experienced this miraculous escape from slavery in Egypt. They cross the Red Sea, they enter the wilderness, and they're finally free. But almost immediately, literally before they even have time to settle into this new freedom, they face a sudden, brutal ambush from a group called the Amalekites. This is Israel's very first military conflict as a free people. The stakes are literally life and death. I mean, they're essentially refugees. They're not trained soldiers, and suddenly they are in the absolute fight of their lives. So Joshua leads the men down into the valley to fight, while Moses goes up on a hill with the staff of God. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the incredible dynamic described in Exodus chapter 17. It is a direct cause and effect. Whenever Moses held his hands up, Israel prevailed in the valley below. But the moment exhaustion set in and Moses lowered his hands, the Amalekites started winning. It's wild. The physical battle down in the dirt was entirely dictated by the spiritual posture happening up on the hill. But here's a reality check that is just so relevant for us today. Even the greatest leaders experience absolute burnout. Moses' arms grew heavy. He physically could not keep them up on his own anymore. So what happened? His friends, Aaron and Hur, stepped in. They gave him a stone to sit on, and they stood on either side of him, physically holding his hands up until the sun went down. The victory was only secured because Moses had a community around him to support him when he was just too weak to keep going. It completely proves that divine power often flows directly through the community around us. Section 3. Dependence on God. After the Amalekites were finally defeated, you'd probably expect the Israelites to throw a massive parade celebrating Joshua's military genius or the bravery of the soldiers, right? But instead, Moses builds an altar, and he names it Yahweh Nissi. The Lord is my banner. By building this altar and giving it this specific name, Moses was making a huge public declaration. He was proving to the entire nation that their true source of victory was absolutely not their own military ability, their sharp swords, or their clever tactics. Not at all. Their victory came entirely from the presence and power of God himself. This concept became so deeply ingrained in the DNA of God's people. In Psalm 20, verse 5, they make this powerful declaration. In the name of our God, we will set up our banners. What an amazing declaration of confidence. That physical banner they looked to in the wilderness became a permanent, lasting symbol for generations. It meant that no matter what enemy they faced, they were staking their identity and their hope completely on God's saving power. Section 4, the ultimate banner. Let's move to and see how this builds. Because we just talked about the Amalekites in the physical valley, but what about your battles? Ephesians 6:12 tells us we aren't fighting flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness. Think about that for a second. The daily struggles you face, the crippling anxiety, the intense peer pressure, the deep identity issues, the awful feeling of just not being enough, these aren't just bad days or bad moods. This is actual spiritual warfare. You are on a battlefield. But the beautiful thing is, just like the Israelites, you are not meant to fight this war relying on your own strength. So who is our banner in this modern spiritual war? It's Jesus Christ. He is the victorious King who conquers sin, death, and all the powers of darkness. Think about the cross. To the rest of the world back then and even now, the cross looked like the ultimate massive defeat. But from a biblical perspective, it was actually the greatest victory in human history. On the cross, Jesus disarmed the spiritual authorities and completely triumphed over them. He became the ultimate fulfillment of Yahweh Nissi. He is the standard that is raised up for us to rally around when the darkness feels totally overwhelming. Section 5, winning your daily battles. So the crucial point is captured right here in these 5 practical takeaways for surviving your modern battlefield. First, God is the source of victory, not your own willpower. Second, you have to depend on him through prayer, just like Moses lifting his hands on that hill. Third, fight under his authority. Let him actually lead you. Fourth, worship follows deliverance. When you get through a really tough week, remember to thank him. Don't just take the credit yourself. And finally, number 5, Christ is our ultimate banner. He is your identity and your completely safe place. I absolutely love this verse from Romans 8:37, and this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we've been talking about. In all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. Notice it doesn't say we're conquerors because we're really smart or really popular or really strong. It is through him. When you feel like you are just failing the test of life, you need to remember that you overcome your struggles purely through God's grace and presence, not by just gritting your teeth and trying to try harder. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final lingering question. Seriously, take a mental inventory right now. What battle are you facing this week? Is it a broken relationship? A massive test you're stressed about? Maybe a secret struggle with your mental health? Whatever it is, I challenge you, stop trying to fight it alone in the valley. Look up, surrender that struggle to God. Let him be your rallying point, your protector, and your ultimate victory. Let Yahweh Nissi be your banner this week. Thanks so much for joining me, and hey, keep looking up.